Hey there, Billy the Kid presents. You believe there was a 3-3 portal and there's going to be a 4-4 portal? Good, I hope you do. It's math, it's astrotheology. We're going to listen to some substance by Seraphim. She's Arcturan like me, and Amanda, Indigo Angel. I don't know what home planet you started at. That's your business. But that's what we do. We all have universal points of origin. Our home planet, psilocybin chocolate.
Carrying the frequency of your genuine desire.
Oh.
What makes the Gamma Normand peak extraordinary is not just the visual spectacle. It is the activation of Mars and Mercury in the same breath. Because Mars is direction is the fire that moves a wish from the realm of longing into the realm of action.
That's Desiree Park's area of
the language
expertise.
of the cosmos, the carrier wave of thought
He
into
was in
form.
Bali, I
When
think
these
he's
two
still
planets conjoin beneath
a
the
Dolores
shower
Cannon
in Aquarius,
protege.
the wishes released that night are not passive. They are directional. They carry propulsion. What did you release on March 14th? What did you speak into the sky?
Yeah.
Consciously or unconsciously, as those lights fell, what was sitting in your
Probably
chest?
don't even
The
remember.
thing you most deeply wanted but were perhaps still afraid to say out
Time
loud.
goes by so
Because I
fast
need to
on
tell
you.
you something about the 4 days that followed. March 15th.
Hello, viewers. It's just after 12 noon here in Clearwater. A new soul contract, Chosen Chronicles from a day ago. Well, let's watch.
Full moon in Virgo has risen, and it has risen with a question in its light. I am Seraphine, emissary of the Arcturian Council, and representative of the Galactic
The
Federation
dwarf
of
planet
Light.
in the mix.
And I have come to tell you that what you are feeling
And a couple
today
of
is not
unicorns.
random. It is not a mood.
And
It
women.
is not the residue of a difficult week, or the beginning
And
of
dragons.
an illness. It is the most precise cosmic
And woo-woo.
accounting of your life to date, and it has arrived not to punish you, but to liberate you from everything that has kept
Nobody's
you orbiting
got,
the
well,
same
I guess Pam
lessons,
Bondi's
the same
punished.
paths, the same unfinished chapters, for longer than your soul agreed
The
to carry
apprentice
them.
judge
But
fired
before
her.
I tell you what this full moon is truly here to do, I need to tell you about something that arrived alongside it that almost nobody is talking about.
Here we go.
Something ancient, something that has not been fully active in this way in a very
Sounds a
long
little
time.
Hawaiian.
Its name is Virgo is the keeper of right order. She is not cold. She is not critical for the pleasure of it. She weeps as she works. She holds the scales of discernment, not because she enjoys finding fault, but because she understands, with profound and ancient clarity, that the soul cannot ascend
The
into
sun
its
was
next
in
expression
Virgo
while
on
carrying the weight of
9/11/3
what it has not
BC.
resolved. She is the great librarian of cause and effect, and she does not allow a chapter to remain open
Behind
indefinitely.
the moon.
She loves you too much for that. When the full moon
In
rises
front
in
of
Virgo,
Jupiter.
her light falls on everything that is not in alignment,
Regulus on
everything
top.
that has drifted from truth, every corner of your life where you have told yourself a comfortable story instead of a true one, every relationship where the terms are understood but not spoken, every gift you possess that you have been too afraid, too small, too self-doubting to offer to the world. The full moon in Virgo does not turn its light on these things to shame you. It turns its light on them because they are the things that are keeping you small. And this universe, this federation, this love that watches over you from dimensions you cannot yet fully perceive, will not allow you to remain smaller than your soul agreed to be. So if you woke today with a clarity you did not expect, a sudden knowing about a relationship, a pattern, a choice you've been deferring, do not dismiss it. That clarity is the gift of this full moon. The discomfort that accompanies it is not a sign that you are wrong. It is the sensation of truth landing in a body that has been bracing against it for a long time. Something is being revealed to you right now, and it is something you have always known. But there is more, because this full moon did not arrive alone. When the full moon rose over Gaia yesterday evening, it did not rise in isolation, standing in direct opposition to the sun, fully illuminated, fully awake, was a cosmic body your astronomers have only recently named, though we in the Federation have known it for far longer than that. Make it help the dwarf planet that governs what your ancient traditions called natural law, the immovable principle that the universe at its deepest level does not forgive violations of its own nature. Let me be precise about what this means, because it is important. Make is not karma in the punitive sense your cultures have sometimes described. It is not a cosmic authority waiting to catch you in a mistake so it can deliver a sentence. It is something far more elegant and far more inevitable than that. It is the principle that says what has been set in motion must complete its arc. What has been taken must be returned. What has been neglected, whether that neglect was conscious or unconscious, eventually surfaces. Not because the universe is unkind, because it is precise. At opposition, make is as close to Gaia as it comes.
Breaking
as
news.
Bright, as awake.
All
as
over the
active.
place.
And it arrived at this point of maximum proximity on the same night as the full moon in Virgo.
Stephon
the sign
Burns.
most associated with exactness, right living,
You'll see.
sacred service, and the body as a temple of spiritual law. Think about the layering of this for a moment. The full moon illuminating everything unresolved. Virgo demanding exactness. Make it opposition. Activating the law that says unresolved things do not simply dissolve. They accumulate, gathering interest, until the universe creates a moment precisely like this one, to bring them into the light. This is why the energy today feels so different from an ordinary full moon. This is not merely emotional revelation. This is a cosmic settling of accounts. And here is where I must pause, because I want to make something absolutely clear before we go further. This is not something to fear, not even slightly. The accounts being settled today are being settled in your favor. The karmic debts being called in are not debts owed to some celestial collector. They are debts owed to yourself, to the version of you that was promised a life in alignment with its deepest truth, and has been waiting, patiently and not always quietly,
You've done
for that
bad
promise
things,
to be
forgive
honored.
yourself.
Today that waiting ends, but that is not the only thread I need to place in your hands, because what comes in the next 2 days will transform everything this full moon has revealed, and if you do not know it is coming, you may miss the message entirely. Before I tell you about what arrives on the 3rd day after this full moon, the event that will give voice to everything being illuminated right now, I want to speak for a moment about your body. Some of you woke this morning feeling as though your physical form had been processing something enormous overnight. Heaviness in the chest, unusual fatigue.
I had good dreams.
Not the kind that comes from poor sleep, but the kind that comes from deep cellular work. Perhaps your digestion is unsettled.
Meeting
Perhaps
people.
there is a low,
Women.
persistent vibration in your nervous system that you cannot trace to a specific thought
One
or
has
worry.
the middle name
Perhaps you
Magdalene.
feel more than anything a profound need to
I
clean
like
something. Your home, your diet, a drawer you have been avoiding for months. None of this is coincidence. Virgo governs the physical body, the nervous system, and the gut, which your scientists are now beginning to understand as a second brain, a seat of intuition, a receiver of cosmic signals. When the full moon rises in Virgo, the body is the instrument through which the revelation arrives. The soul does not whisper its karmic accounting only in dreams or meditations. It speaks.
I'm going to speak. Meditate. Drink water. Thank it. Forgive yourself. Forgive everyone. Have compassion. Be fearless. And be happy.
Through the soma, through the tightness in the jaw, through the sudden inability to eat foods that no longer serve you, through the impulse to purge, not just physically, but emotionally, energetically,
Stop eating
relationally.
meat. Good morning, y'all. That's that dude, Ryan. He's a weatherman. This is news. You guys know about what Donnie did? Poo-poo pants, what he did to Pam Bondi? Well, her turn has come. You're fired, Pam. I hope she comes to Tampa, relaxes. Maybe she can go sit on a beach with Kerry Cassidy, because they both kind of look similar. I think Kerry's a little bit older. But Pam grew up in Tampa. I'm over here in Clearwater. Maybe she can come pick me up. I'll teach her a few things. You know what I mean? Because she was duped. MK Ultra, you name it. Parkland to the Fed. And now she's fired. And she's still a young woman. So give her a chance. And remember to have compassion for everybody.
An NBC News special report.
Peacock.
Good
Good day. We are coming on the air with breaking news. President Trump has apparently fired his Attorney General, Pam Bondi, according to a senior administration official and a source familiar with the matter. This comes after NBC News learned that the president has grown frustrated with his Attorney General in recent days, according to multiple sources. I want to get right to our team covering all of it. Our Chief Justice and National Affairs correspondent Kelly O'Donnell is joining us. We've also got our White House correspondent Monica Alba as well. Kelly, let me start with you. This is not altogether surprising, considering the reporting from NBC that the president was frustrated with Bondi's performance leading the Department of Justice. And we've often seen the president let some of his intentions, feelings, concerns bubble out publicly
Chief
as
Justice
one measure
and
of
National Affairs. Man, she's been with them CIA payroll.
This is a blow because she has been a very loyal sort of friend and ally of the president for a long time, going back to Florida, assisting in the first Trump term. And this, in many ways, comes down to a representation of the frustration that President Trump has, that his vision for how he could exact retribution against political rivals and those who had, in his perception, done him wrong at some past point, to be brought to justice. That has not happened, even though this Department of Justice under Pam Bondi has attempted to do so in a number of areas where we've seen the failed attempts to prosecute James Comey or Letitia James. Then there's the broader issue of the Epstein files. There was a moment where Pam Bondi, who in the journey of her time as Attorney General has been both loyal but has also committed some self-inflicted errors. She talked about having the so-called Epstein list on her desk.
Sometimes she looks so pretty and other times
she had led people to believe there would be more coming on Epstein. And then initially,
she's always
last summer, the Department of Justice said the files would be closed.
She let him off the hook for Trump University in Florida.
A groundswell that was a broader political coalition than you might expect. Certainly those in the MAGA community and then those who were very supportive of the survivor community around Epstein.
Now, of course, they've got Mossad DeSantis.
And there was a political engine that developed around them, bringing it to a point where Congress required the Department of Justice to produce those files. They have done so, but only in a limited way. It has not been the full set of files. So Pam Bondi has not been able to insulate the president from some of the criticism related to the Epstein ordeal. She has not been able to deliver on some of his desired prosecutions, and that frustration has apparently bubbled up.
All the ways in which she has been loyal
were suddenly put in a back seat, and she was in the seat with him yesterday, going in the Beast, as it's known, the presidential limousine, to the Supreme Court to listen to one of the key ideas of his time in office, which is birthright citizenship that he wants to challenge. Apparently, she was unable to save herself in those personal direct moments with the president. She attended his speech.
So another quick point, because we're done with Pam. You know, Ivanka Trump worked for Trump in his first administration officially, so her pictures were all over the place, hosting meetings and shit. You know what they just did? As we speak, they took down all her official pictures and only left family-related photos. At Melania's direction, they must have some friction going on. It's incredible. All right, next. You know, you get to it in a position of power. The guy was out there when Charlie Kirk got hammered. Been with Trump now for a while. He's clearly a reptile. Just look at the characteristics of the man's face. Patel. All right, here we go. Look, he's got an L. Patel. Votel. But this guy's not a member of the Fourth Reich because he's not German. Joe Votel is. Let's go.
You're watching The Legal Breakdown. Glenn, it looks like Kash Patel is in some hot water, FBI director, for using SWAT agents, FBI SWAT agents as a security perk for his girlfriend. I'm going to put a quote up here on the screen from a former senior FBI agent. There is no legitimate justification for this. This is a clear abuse of position and misuse of government resources. She is not his spouse, does not live in the same house or even the same city. So first and foremost, what happens in the event that you have a clear abuse of government resources and yet you are the person at the top of the food chain in an administration that seems perfectly content to abuse their positions?
What happens is exactly nothing, Brian. Unfortunately, what should happen this should at least be taken up as an administrative matter. The person who is misusing government resources, government property, government funds, or government employees
gotta be law
should be
enforcement.
investigated by, for example, an inspector general, many of whom were, fired unceremoniously, if not unlawfully, by Donald Trump when he took office for his second term. There should be sanctions. There should be consequences. However, and even beyond that, Brian, if this is a violation of federal law, misuse of government property, it should be investigated by whom? By the FBI and the Department of Justice. Of course, when you're the director of the FBI, do you think you're going to order an investigation into yourself, even if there is adequate predication, enough evidence that you may have violated federal law? Of course not. But, this is not just an abuse of power.
It would be turned over to the Attorney General, and apparently there isn't one now.
Abuse of government
Great timing.
These SWAT team
There's no one to prosecute them.
Who, you know what they should be doing in Nashville, where they are apparently providing security for Kash Patel's 27-year-old girlfriend, who is reportedly a country singer in Nashville. This SWAT team should be available at a moment's notice, on a second's notice, to respond to things like mass shooting, terrorist incidents, and other things that require immediate attention from FBI SWAT teams. But instead, they're providing security for Kash Patel's girlfriend. And as that former senior FBI agent
Look,
said,
if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Come on now, give the guy a break.
Analyst on cable
we
news,
pay for all this
said,
shit in America. That's why I don't pay tax.
Basis
all right, I'm not mad.
Provided to an FBI.
That I think is about to have a big solar flare. This coming from Sunspot Group 4409. You see a big solar flare right there. That was an M-class flare. I think we're about to get something bigger from this Sunspot Group, which has just recently grown quite a bit.
That's the moon mission.
Quite dense and compact and twisted
Major
and clustered
turn.
up. And that is a pretty good sign that we have a significant solar flare and
letting
maybe
you
even
know.
a mass ejection coming our way, because this has all happened just in the past 36 hours. And we have 4 astronauts right now headed to the moon. So they are now inbound to the moon. They'll reach there in about 3 days, meaning that they've left the main protective confines of Earth's magnetic field. They are still in what's known as the magnetotail. The solar wind pushes Earth's magnetic field, compresses it at the front, elongates out the back, but it's not as strong of a protective shield or force field, you could say, as it is closer into the planet. So they are experiencing right now a lot more solar radiation than normal. We can see that here with our proton flux. We did not reach a radiation storm, but we see that our greater than 10 mega electron volt protons here, this red line, has increased about 25 times over baseline.
I never
this
took
is an order of magnitude scale right there. So every one is a 10x increase.
And I was Billy the
normal
Kid.
is about 0.2
and Margaret Clitheroe and William Joseph
for
Schaumburg.
our flux values. And then we see that we went up to about 5, and right now it's clicking in at 4. So if you get to 10, that's when you enter into an S1 radiation storm. So they are already receiving a lot more proton radiation from the sun as a result of some pretty gnarly solar filament launches that we had. We can look at that here with our 3 and 4 inch view of the sun. Check this out. We had first this big filament launch from there. That's not Earth directed. This one was. Check that out. Whoosh, that's a big plasma filament launch. And it had a pretty nice shock wave to it. There was a full halo that launched from that, though most of the plasma density is going to be traveling ahead of Earth's orbit. We can look at our Halo CME model for that. We'll see it again right up there. So that is coming in, expected to hit in about 12 hours. So here's the full synopsis, basically, is that A, the astronauts have already been flying in space during a G1 to G2 geomagnetic storm. So we've already been hit by a solar storm. They launched under those conditions. They've been experiencing that. They've also been experiencing heightened radiation from the space environment as a result of this event here. Though we did not reach an S1 proton storm, we got close. So they've been receiving more of this solar energy already. Thankfully, the Even higher energy protons, like greater than 100, greater than 500 mega electron volts, have not gone up because that would be a very serious risk. Now we have this new sunspot rotating directly into view. Here it is, 4409. It's probably about to do a big solar flare, very likely coronal mass ejection directly to us because it's in the strike zone. We see the growth of that
We're going to
very
get
compact
hit by an X
and
flare.
densely clustered. And
A
then we
big
also
one.
have a sun grazer comet right now, soon to
Right in the middle of
form
all
its
this.
perihelion around the sun, probably will disintegrate, maybe even impact the sun. That's all happening in the next 34 hours. Let me show you this right here. This is C2026A1 maps showing up now on our
right,
program to
Sarah
see
can
how
talk
it is
about that.
brightening quite rapidly. It's about 400 meters across. That's the estimate. So this is not the biggest comet that we've ever seen. It is pretty underwhelming compared to the initial estimates that we were basically forecasting for this comet when we first detected it a month ago or so. But it is still there right now in our inner solar system, flying closer and closer to the sun, accelerating rapidly as we have 4 astronauts in space. And we see this connection sometimes between solar activity and comets, especially when they get close or they form specific alignments. So this guy is going to continue to accelerate and brighten as it gets close to the sun. Its perihelion only 0.005 astronomical units away from the sun. That's basically the Earth-Moon separation distance. And then it'll swing around. It should survive. It'll be very bright and it'll go off basically like this. It's actually going to swing around like that and then go off down this direction. So there's a ton of dynamic factors currently at play right now with our sun and with our Earth's magnetic field, energy, plasma environment, and these astronauts right now are traveling through all of that. We looked at our 131 angstrom imagery and we saw how sunspot group 4409 was becoming more
He must own a
active.
flux
We also saw
capacitor.
from 4406. Well, here we see that recent activity from 4405. So we've already had some N-class flares, but they've been too
Gamma
low
X-ray
N-class flares.
flux.
But I think, again, that's going to spike up. We have seen just the past couple hours here, a little bit of a cool off, but in general, the trend is increasing as
And
we
there's
see
April
solar
4th.
activity because
And
of
he's
all these
Stefan
sunspots we
Burns.
have on the we've been tracking has just come in as I record this. I did not see this. Here is the geomagnetic storm
Near
that
real
we've
time.
been in G1, even reaching G2 levels right there, specifically G2 minus. So
He's
G1
amazing.
storm is a minor storm, and G2 is a moderate storm. G3 is strong, G4 is severe, G5 is extreme. We would not want astronauts in space during a G5 storm the way that these Artemis 2 astronauts are, because the
Or
International
cosmonauts.
Space Station is actually pretty close into the Earth and lower in
Astro
orbit,
or
fairly
cosmic.
protected overall. But when
What's
you're further out,
cosmetology?
you're in the radiation belts, even beyond
It's
them,
hairy.
you're really getting hit by all these particles and plasma from the sun. We see that we entered into a high-speed stream, solar wind going up to about 650 kilometers per second. The magnetic field did die down. This is what drove most of the activity.
Many providers.
Enhanced to about 15, even 17.
This guy's a
nanometers.
scientist.
Normal
He
is
went to
5.
school.
Look at this new shock that just came in right there. Let's punch in on that. Then
Him
go
and his
to
dad
our
sell natural
6-hour
products.
view. We see that now our solar wind velocity is going up to about
So good to know that he's with us.
kilometers per second, and
He's
our
cool.
strength for the magnetic field is about 14, 13, 12, and -7. Immediately having that negative configuration that we look for a strong geomagnetic storm. So we are now having
Watch
this
this
impact,
brother on YouTube.
now, as
He's
I'm
on all the
recording
time.
This takes about an hour to reach us because we're recording
All
this
right.
1% of the distance from the Earth to the Sun. So as you're watching this, this is already probably
About 8
hitting
light minutes.
and interacting with Earth and also interacting with these astronauts. So
Woo.
they're receiving
All right.
more particle flux than they normally would because we have such an active environment right now.
Thank you,
with the
Stefan.
sun.
Oh, Kiki Dicky. She floats like a butterfly. I bet Bruce Lee's looking at her and saying, that's good. He was born in San Francisco. She's big in Japan. Got all her teeth. She's very pretty.
Meet Mona Kimura, the real Chun-Li from Street Fighter, or When Cosplay Went Too Far. Mona was born on April 12, 2001, in Mizuho, Gifu Prefecture, Japan.
April 12th.
From early childhood until she entered university, she trained in boxing and karate. These were the beginnings of her martial arts
So
career.
she's gonna be
Mona quickly demonstrated
25.
talent and became the Japanese national champion at just 18
Look at
years
them
old.
toes.
She later even represented Japan at the 2022 IBA Women's World Boxing Championships, cementing her status as one of the most promising Japanese athletes. Despite her success in boxing, Mona ultimately chose kickboxing, a less lucrative sport. After signing with the Crush promotion, fans quickly began comparing her to the Street Fighter character Chun-Li due to their remarkably similar fighting
She can
styles.
punch too.
And so, on November 16th, 2024, Mona made her debut against a certain Ai Ogiwara. She opened the fight with jabs, and her first attempt at a kick resulted in a brief takedown. But Mona easily rose and responded with a powerful hook.
さあその赤、木村モナがサウスポー、そして荻原愛がオーソドックス。ファーストコンタクトはああいうね、握りの前、上段の前蹴り素晴らしい。木村モナは今回はですね、蹴りからつなげていきたいということなんですよね。別にこの元ボクシングっていうね、そういう実績なのにこの全然パンチじゃないね、期待がかからない。そして対する荻原愛がパンチで私は倒した。
Nervously, Ogiwara attempted to clinch and landed a couple of punches. But Kimura seized the initiative. A left straight to the jaw knocked her opponent down.
期待できる試合なのかなと思ってます。そう、インドから今右足パターン。
Left.
冷静ですね。
Soon, another accurate right hook ended the fight with a spectacular knockout.
そうですね。デビュー戦とは思えない冷静さというか。空手の時は、前蹴りしか蹴ってるイメージないですね。ああ、そうなんですか。
Greatest of all time, says up there, GOAT.
ずっと、はい。それでもう7連覇っていう感じだったんです。そう、印象的には。はい。さあ、来るところカウンターで。今度は右。さあ、1ラウンド。
She's got the left, she's got the right.
1分30秒残した。
Got the feet.
2回の KO ですよ。
And she is undefeated.
In her second fight against Yuka, Mona immediately unleashed her signature kicks, controlling the pace from the opening bell.
出身っていうところなので、パンチに注目がいくところかなと思ったんだけど、最初はね、もう空手の足技から見せてくれて、そうですね。完璧な試合での KO マッチになって、はい。
Yeah. Yes, in Japan. Steel Station Konya. I can't wait to go there. Japanese, great. Subaru. Seven Sisters.
When Yuka tried to close the distance, Mona effectively used her boxing skills to keep her at bay.
And she got in the ring for it. This is from 4
The
months
entire
ago.
fight was dominated by Mona.
The GOAT.
Although Yuka managed to land a couple of hits to Mona's head, it made little difference. Kimura easily regained control.
木村選手の左ストレートはすごくデビュー戦もそうだったので、今日もですね、本当伸びてくるんですね。脱力した状態からしっかりと的確に、倒せるパンチを出してくるので、前蹴りと同様に、この井川選手は右を返していこうという井川です。前蹴りがすんごく伸びてきます。本当に後ろに力がないんですけど伸びてきますね。そうですね。前蹴りをね、被弾しながらもですね、決して、突き上げるような蹴り。どんどん前に越えたところでそれを一つ牽制しながらこれはノーダウンです。これ以上ないもうキャリアでエリートですね。
So back in the 1800s, men wore one-piece suits with prison stripes, black and white, painted sideways. Donald Trump Jr. posed with his sister and Hillary and Donald watching. This goes way back. Now listen to his life.
Want a new show that parties?
The guys in the room are like, oh, hey, oh, hey. I'm like, hey, wait a minute.
Watch Cocaine News with your host, Donald Trump Jr.
All in the family.
Let's see which way the wind is blowing.
Hot takes.
If Lizzo's a president, so am I, right?
Hard drugs.
We're like, wow, it's crazy. You don't have ideas?
And all the finger quotes you can handle.
The Inflation Reduction of Violence of January 6th. I hope Trump comes. I'm going to punch him out.
This is my moment. I've been waiting for this. For trespassing on Capitol grounds. I'm going to punch him out. I'm going to go to jail. I'm going to be happy.
Cutting up fat rounds.
Have compassion.
Just insanity after insanity. They'll come up with a way to work.
Yes, I agree.
This is exactly what we're doing. Human would also have man in it. We just moved to a blue state, basically going to do nothing. Unlike all the prior presidents, a small nuclear war. You know, not a big one. That could be bad.
That's pure uncut news candy.
I don't know whether to be like upset or impressed.
By the way, I heard Tiger Woods had another car accident. Have compassion for him too. The hits keep on rolling.
And his family were celebrating July 4th on the Truman balcony. Behind the scenes, the Secret Service was investigating the shocking discovery of
Truman had a
cocaine
balcony.
just steps from the Oval Office.
How this got into the White House and who brought it in, all of those questions.
Probably the Secret
still
Service.
lingering.
Bongino.
We know the cocaine was found in a small dime-sized bag during a routine sweep in a cubby used by White House staff and guests to store cell phones.
There's a small wall of little cubby where guests are told to leave their cell phones before entering the West Wing for tours. That's because photos are not allowed inside the West Wing.
A field test by the D.C. Fire Department confirmed it was cocaine.
We have a yellow bar stating cocaine.
The search for the culprit was the main focus of today's White House press briefing.
The president thinks
Back in the day,
to get to the
Genghis Khan.
That's why Secret Service, which is under their purview, is looking into this.
He wanted Mongolia,
White
Joe
House
Biden.
correspondent Tyler Pager, who broke the story,
Because
says it may
he
have
soul
been a
swapped.
guest of a White House staffer.
If you are a White House employee, you can sign up to give guests guided tours of the West Wing. And
Jesus,
the
like
place where
in
this
the
was
Acropolis
found
too,
is
the White
entry
House.
for those tours. So some in the White House believe the cocaine is potentially associated with a tour that was ongoing on Sunday.
Conservative media is pointing the finger at the president's troubled son, Hunter.
This was all unfolding in between visits from the president's son, Hunter,
Rock and
a
roll.
drug addict.
The
Hunter
kids
was
too.
not at the White House when the cocaine was discovered
As
on
we know.
Sunday. He was at Camp David with the rest of the Bidens. The weekend's celebrations were marred by an outbreak of violence across the nation. Mass shootings in 14 cities left 15 dead and 96 injured. The president and first lady denounced the horror.
Jill
in a
the
statement.
pill.
We pray for the day when our communities will be free from gun violence. The 4th of July is the most violent day of the year, says Northeastern
This was
University
2 years ago.
criminologist James Allen Fox.
Thank you.
Donald, with your daughter?
Well, I was going to say, sure.